Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on the Freeman Ford serving table. So you can see here I've got it all dry fitted together, so we'll go through this in the video and get through the process of getting to this point where we dry fitted it. You might remember a few weeks ago we released a video showing how we had some custom router bits made, how I designed those and got those sent off to have the bits made. Well, the bits came in, here they are. So we had the wider bit for the wider part of the leg here to put this contour in it, and then the smaller bit for the insides of the legs to put that contour in there. So you'll see that as we go through the video, how we do all that. Again, this is the Freeman Ford serving table, and it's out of the Ford house, which is one of the Greene and Greene houses. 7-foot top that way overhangs the sides here, extends out the front. It's a pretty cool piece. So a lot of different details. Like I said in that video, there's a lot of these replica tables that are made, or reproduction tables that are made, but the legs don't have the contour in them. They're just square or rectangular actually. But this one, we're making an exact reproduction of the original table. So I wanted to get all of those details and contours into the legs on this table. So we've got that all done. The initial ebony here I've got marked out. I need to make those a little deeper. I'm going to make those a little deeper on the mortising machine, but we've got those all laid out where they go, so I'm not worried about all of that. Everything dry fit together perfectly, like I talked about in that video. With these contours, the leg pieces couldn't really go into the contoured portion of the leg without looking kind of odd, because one, the contour or the rails aren't centered in the legs. They're pulled forward a little bit, so they're actually in a portion of the concave portion of the leg that comes out. So it's not even an even place that it's in the leg where you could try to machine your rail to have that same contour. So what we did were called haunch tenons, where we actually mortised into the legs so that these rails actually sit into the legs. And you'll see that in the video. I have some close-ups of that. If you missed the video where we did the router bits, I'll post a link for it up in the corner up here so that you can go back and see how that process was if you're interested in that. If not, here it is all dry fit and put together. Let's get back at the beginning and see where we started with the legs, and we'll go from there. All right, let's go out the shop. Well, we're in the shop, but let's get busy. Okay, here we go. So here you see we've got the legs. They're all laid out. The CNC cut them out and did the ebony plugs, or the mortises for the ebony plugs there on the faces, but couldn't do the sides. So while I was at the CNC, I went ahead and made some templates for the sides here. So that's what we're doing. Use a little painter's tape to get them on, and then use a mortise punch. These are sold through Lee Valley Tools, designed by Daryl Peart. He came up with those, and they're sold through Lee Valley now. Great little punches to use for doing square holes without using a big mortiser if you want to do stuff a little bit quicker. These things are great. They come in various sizes. So getting those and marking all the holes here where all the square mortises are going to go. Go ahead and pull off the template here, and you'll see where we've got our little holes. So there's the up close view of it. Now you could use a full like size mortise chisel off of your mortising machine. The problem with that is, you'll see here in a minute, what makes these tools so great to use is that they're short, so you're able to run a drill bit down through the inside and clear out that inside material, so that when you're pounding the mortise chisel in, you're not fighting all of that material. So here you'll see I take the 1/4 inch chisel, get it set, and then I'm going to change out the drill bit here. Each different size mortise chisel takes a different size drill bit. So here's the one for this one. So right there, you can just drill through the top there, clean it up a little if you need to, and then put your mortise chisel back, hammer it in, use the drill to clear out that material, and got a nice clean square hole. So the problem with the full-size mortise chisel is you need a really, really long drill bit because of how long those are. So these shorter ones like this come in really handy. They also come apart. You can unscrew that top barrel portion from it to try and get stuff cleaned out, but generally not too big of an issue with that. So once I've got all of my holes cut in, I'm going to come through, line everything up, and I'm going to mark out and lay out for the mortises in the sides and the rails. I'm going to be doing a loose tenon in this one, so there will be mortises in both the rails and the legs. So here I'm just marking everything out. So on each rail, you can see I mark an arrow pointing up. That way everything goes back in the proper orientation. And then I'm labeling everything with a letter so that I know exactly which way everything goes back. So we go through and get everything lined up, make sure that we've got everything correct. Then you'll see on the top of the legs there, you can kind of see I've got some writing with the Sharpie on there. I do that with each of my legs at the tops so that I know which leg goes to which leg and everything goes back in the proper orientation. So everything is labeled front right, middle, front left, and then the same thing for the rear. You see that center rail there. You can kind of see when I push on it, it rocks a little bit. It's got a little bow in it. After I filmed this portion, I went through, took some water on that concave side and wet it and set it off to the side with some clamps and was able to pull that warp out of it. Okay, so here we're starting to do the mortises. So we've got a 3/8 bit in there for a 3/8 mortise. Our tenons are going to be 3/8 loose tenons. So here we're putting the mortise in. Remember, the mortises aren't exactly centered in the piece, so they're a little more towards the face. So we have it all set up, and then just got to make sure that as we do this, that the face is up on all of them. So that's where we're going to go through. We get all the mortises in. See, with the multi-router, it makes it real easy doing these mortises. So we get all those done, then we come back and do the same thing with the rails. So, oops, there you go, I'm human. Go ahead and put our mortises into the rails, and they're actually centered in the rails. So we got it all set up for that. Reset the multi-router and get our mortises into our rails, both sides. And now we're going to come back. I've got a 1/4 inch bit in there now because there's a 1/4 inch bit has an 1/8 inch radius, which is the round over that I'm going to put onto the rails. So that'll be the corners of these mortises here will be for the rails because they'll have an 1/8 inch round over. So you'll see when it gets put together at the end when I dry fit it. But what I'm doing here is putting that mortise for the rail to slide into, because remember, there's going to be a concave piece here. So here you can see the example of what I'm talking about. So I mortised in that pocket there that the rail sits in because there's going to be a concave face on all 4 sides of the legs. So there's nothing square for the rail to set up against. So if it was on that curved concave piece, it would leave a gap that you'd be able to see. So here at the top, you can see that pocket there that the rail is actually going to set into. So after the concave portion is routed in, the rail slides into that pocket so that it still looks like a real nice tight fit, and you're not going to see any gapping around the rail. So the video we had a couple weeks ago with the making the custom router bits for these legs, that's the bit, one of the 2 bits that we had made. So this is going to put our concave portion in the wider portion of the leg. So we go ahead and run these through both sides. So that's going to give us that concave look we're looking for. So you can use a couple push blocks, makes it a lot easier to push through, keeps your hands up away from the bit. So we've got that side done, and you can see that concave in it, and actually you can see it too as it comes through the table. That's an 1/8 inch deep off of the table. It's raised up an 1/8 inch. That's what the sides will be too. So with the other bit, once we get the other bit in, so we just take this and we go through all of the legs, get that concave face on both sides. These bits came out real nice, real clean cut, no burning. Did a really good job with doing what I needed it to do. This was by far the easiest way to make that concave portion on all those legs. And again, you can see there written on the tops of legs, that one FL, front left. So making sure that we put everything back together in the proper order. So here we go, feed that through. And now here's the other bit. So this one's for the sides. So we got a little feather board there. Hold it tight up against the fence because of that concave portion. I want to make sure that it stays tight against the fence. So then we're going to go ahead and run this through. Get both sides. There you go, so you can see that. So this one was a little off center. So I just ran it through the other way. A little tip, if you're ever doing a groove or anything that you need centered and width isn't exactly critical, run your piece through both ways, like you see me doing here. So I run it through one way, and then I flip it the other way and run it through. That way you're coming off of the fence the same distance both ways, and it's going to center your piece for you. So here you can see what I'm talking about there, where it goes in to the concave portion. You can see how it's nice and tight in there, and it doesn't look like you're trying to put a flat piece of wood up against a curved surface. So here I've dry fit the table. I've got it all together. Everything's dry fit and just pushed together. That's one of the things with the way the tenons and these mortises for the rails are there, is I don't have any clamps holding this together. Everything is held together just from the friction of being pushed together. So here you can see all those concave portions. You see the rail is a little bit forward of center. That's how the original is. You see all those markings I was talking about up at the top. We've got our mortises for our ebony. Hey everybody, so here we are back at the dry fit table. We'll be taking this apart in a little bit to get started with the deepening the mortises for the ebony, and I'm going to get started on the top. So that'll probably be the next video, will be the top. There's some inlays in the top that are proud of the actual top, and it's got breadboard ends. So there will be some pretty cool things in that video to talk about, because we've got breadboard ends, ebony in those. We've got splines where the breadboard end meets up with the tabletop. So there's that. There's going to be the inlays in the top. So some really cool stuff to come still. We got to a good point on this. We got a lot of sanding. These corners along here all get rounded over to where the contour comes out, rounds around, and then right into the next contour. So there's no real sharp corners anywhere on this piece. So got a lot of work still to do, but we've got a great start on it. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, please like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell. If you've got any questions, please comment. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have about anything. If there's more content that you would like or different things that you would like to see, drop a comment, drop a message, however you want to get a hold of us. Look at our socials, Instagram @Snow Woodworks, So you can check out there. You can DM me on there. A lot of different ways to get a hold of us. Check out our website, www.snow-woodworks.com, for our different work on there. And that's another way to get a hold of us. But thanks for sticking through this long. Thanks for watching the video. As always, see you next time.